Hey y'all, I hope all is well. Um, I wanted to share a few things with you guys. I think tonight I'm gonna talk about the void, um, and the dangers in settling when you settle for a thing, especially when you settle for something less than what God has for you. Um, the dangers in it, and some of the symptoms, and um, some of the things that you will know, how you'll know if you settled. Because I already talked about anything that's not, anything that's of God, it would elevate you. Anything that's not of Him, it's a path of desecration. It will desecrate or whatnot. And when you decide to do you, because like I said, I was in this mind frame, I just wanted to do me. You know what I mean? But, it's dangerous in doing you, and you can never get that void filled. That void will never be filled um when you do you. And that's how you know that you have settled for something less than what he has for you, because you still is something, it's still there, something's still missing, and you're still unhappy, and you be like, okay, why is it that I have what I want but I still feel like I'm missing something? Why is it that I have that, yeah, I accomplished everything that I want but I'm still missing something? you know why is it that I have this job, that I've always wanted, but I'm still missing something? Am I not in purpose? Is this not what you, not where I'm supposed to be? Because your spirit knows. For the ones that have the Holy Spirit, and for the ones that don't, your soul will not. Deep down inside of you, you know. It's annoying. Um, that you have deep inside of you when you're supposed to have something more, or when you're supposed to be somewhere else. It's just annoying. It's an unction, and an unction is a pulling. It's a spiritual pull that you just know with everything in you that something is off, something is not right, something is missing. And anytime you settle for anything that less than what God has for you, anytime you go another way, you settle. It's a form of settling. And whenever you settle, you're going to always have that void. But if you choose God's path and you choose what He wants for you, you're going to be full. You're going to be content. You're going to be straight, because when you drink of that cup, hey, you will never thirst again. So, settle, the definition of settle is to resolve or reach an agreement about an argument or a problem. So, the main thing that we're going to take from that definition is agreement. When you come into agreement with something that is less than what God wants you to have, meaning your inheritance, because you know when you're of course a daughter of a son of a king, then you have certain inheritance, right? And when you choose to go your way, then you're no longer a part of that inheritance. You know, inheritance, you forfeited, right? Not only that, like I talked about in one of my videos when I was giving a prophetic warning regarding to turn around, whatever decision, whatever way you was going, turn around, because it was just a warning to let you know, if you keep going the way that you're going, then it means you're going to be out of jurisdiction. So when it comes to that, with my criminal justice background, explaining that when you're out of jurisdiction, right, it's a certain radius, a certain area, a certain a certain how can I explain it? It's an area that you're a safe zone that you're in, right? It's a zone that you're in, which means you're in jurisdiction, right? Um, you're in the right vicinity or whatnot. So anytime you decide to do you, then you're out of jurisdiction. Meaning whatever happens to you, God has nothing to do with it. It's on you. So the same way when we choose our own path, and when we decide to do us, or we decide to, that we want to pick the people that we want in our life instead of allowing God to place the people and the right people that's meant for us to help elevate us and to get where we need to be, you're gonna be unhappy. And regardless, whether you think that people can pick up on it, they can. I mean, people are like hound dogs. They can pick it up. You know what I mean? People can sense when you're not happy. Regardless of how you try to hide it, it's gonna come out in some shape or form. And this is the example I'm gonna give. I remember, because I'm the type of person, I like to know, like, if I did something wrong, or I want to know what you ain't like. You know what I mean? Like, because I remember um, getting my husband at the time. I asked him, like, we wrote lists. He wrote a list out of everything he loved about me and everything he didn't like about me, right? And we talked about a few things. And because, this, my way of growing, to be a better woman, um, and be a better person, to kind of find out, okay, what are the things that I can improve on? So he shared a few things. And, I was like, sometimes it's a hard pill to see yourself. Sometimes you don't want to believe things, but hey, just because you don't see it don't mean it's not there. You know, so when people tell you something, just because you feel some type of way about it, you got to take your emotions out of it and just take things for what they are. Even if you can't see it right then, at some point, I promise you, you will see it. So he said a few things. And he wasn't lying, you know what I mean? But it was one thing that I couldn't see that now as of lately, I was able to, get confirmation on it, to kind of, get a better understanding, a spiritual meaning behind it. But he said a few things, and one thing that, like I said, did stick out. He was talking about me being, me having a revenge type of spirit. And he wasn't lying because, I feel, like, I'll be like, I'm the sweetest person in the world, but don't play with me. Like, you play with me, then, like, I could be real petty. You know what I mean? So he was like, every time, what I don't like is when I do stuff, you try to get back. He wasn't lying. It'd be me. I'd be like, you ain't fit to, like, play with me and think that you ain't gonna get it. You know what I mean? He wasn't lying. And it was me being immature, and just because one wrong don't mean you should be, it don't give you a license to, cut up, even though, that be in your first mind. But like I said, I was young. I think I was 23 when I got married. Yeah, I was young and still growing. God's still working with me today. I ain't gonna act like he ain't, because he is, okay? So, he didn't like that. And I'm like, okay, well, if you don't like it, stop making me act the way you don't want me to act. If you straighten up, then you won't have to worry about me clowning, or doing this and doing that. Which, like I said, didn't give me a license, but, then I was super petty. Now I'm not as petty, okay? See how I'm getting better. See, I ain't lie to y'all. So with that being said, at the end of the day, one thing that really stood out that I really couldn't see, because I knew he wasn't lying about that, because I'm like, I know you teach people how to treat you. You know what I mean? I'm like, you're not going to play with me. Because if you want to play with me, then I'm going to play, and I play to win. So, with that being said, the one thing that he said, this was after our relationship was over for the most part. I asked because I want to know, like, you know, he said one thing. He was like, you always mad. You know, it's like I can't do nothing right. You always mad. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, do I not give you everything you want? Like, whenever you want to do something, like, I ain't tripping. I don't care. Just let me know in advance. Like, I don't care I don't care. I don't try to babysit you. I don't try to run behind you. I let you have your space. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not up under you. Like, you know, like, I thought, you know, I was doing a good job. But he said that I'm always mad about everything. I'm like, what? Like, how dare you try to give me this angry black woman type of, you know, like, really? Like, I'm always mad. That's what he said, y'all. So, I'm like, okay. I'm always mad. And he was like, yeah, it seems like I can't never do nothing right. And this and that and that. And, like, I couldn't see it. And I'm like, okay, what is it? Like, what is he talking about? And even after counseling, we did counseling and stuff. And it was like, you know, even the counselor was on my side. So in my head, I was like, what is he talking about? So, until God gave me another perspective, it started to make sense. And I just went to thinking about, you know, certain things. And I'm like, you know what? He wasn't lying. And, you know, what he said, his perspective, he wasn't lying, you know. Maybe I did appear to always be mad, you know, and I ain't gonna say always mad, but as in, like, it was like when you go through issues and you deal with infidelity, you know, you deal with the cheating, or you deal with, you know, certain things, family issues, or whatnot. And like I said, I was always mature, and it's like certain things, because we was brought up in two different households. You know, certain things I just felt like he should have known better then. You know what I mean? And I call it out. You know, not understanding, you know, that, you know, whenever I call something out, you know, I can't just be calling stuff out and checking people and not to explaining, you know, not always just being, how can I say it, being a person to point out the wrongs. You know, instead of saying, you know, when I got a chance to be like, and I did, you know, here and there, I'd be like, you know, when he do something great, you know, you know, be like, oh, you know, thank you. I can tell a difference. Like, you have definitely, you know, improved or this and that. I try to do that, you know, but to him, he felt like that felt like that I was always mad about something, because part of me felt like, I guess, that I didn't choose right. You know, especially when a person go to doing stuff, bringing other people into your marriage, you know, and I was like, you know, every time you get caught in something, it just reminds me of how I settled. You know what I mean? Especially when it was signs before I committed. You know, and it just made me mad, and I didn't realize that I was mad, that I was angry. You know, and sometimes you be angry and you don't even realize it, and you like, you know, like, man, like, maybe I was angry, and every time that he'll do stuff, I just get reminded of how I settled, you know, and it appeared like everything that he did wasn't right. He couldn't do nothing right because you reminded me, you know, every time you mistreat me or I find out something, you know, how I chose wrong and I settled. And I was more so angry with myself than I was with him, but it appeared like I was angry with him. You know, and it was like, man, it's like, you know, some things you don't even think about, you know. And it's just, I'm just trying to explain it because it's like I said, like, not to say that I didn't feel I wanted something, but I settled because I was in love with the ideal of a family. That's what I wanted. I let my love, I let my passion become my weakness. And I was more in love with the idea of a family than actually the person. And I hope this makes sense to y'all. And sometimes you have to really look at your decisions and see, why do you want what you want? Is it from a pure heart? Is it with great, is it in is it clean? You know, or is it with is it for self gain? You know, I want this family and I do anything at any cost to have it. But yet part of me kind of sold out and I settled. Even when I seen all the red flags around me, that all this person character is not developed, you know, or their integrity is not there, or this person is damaged. And I was too, but I didn't realize how damaged I was because I was so blinded by the ideal of my false love for a thing, because it became unhealthy. And when you dealing with love, love is, it's a deep affection. You know, it's let me look it up so I can give it to you. It's an intense feeling or deep affection. And it's intimacy, it's attachment, right? And when you look into the definition of attachment, the synonyms for it is closeness, bond, a connection, and regardless of whatever the what kind of love it is, regardless of what type of attachment it is, when it comes down to it, you have healthy and you have unhealthy. And I had an unhealthy attachment to family, what I wanted, my desires. And I forced it. Let's just be honest, I forced it. And when you force something, you settle. And when you go to forcing stuff or manipulating things, meaning trying to make stuff work when it's not meant to work, you fall into witchcraft and manipulation. And that's what I did. You know, so even though, look at how simple it was. It sound like, you love family. You family oriented. That's what you wanted. You know what I mean? But my desires became tainted because it became unhealthy. It was an unhealthy want because I always wanted it because I never had it. So you see how something can be good and it can be turned bad and it can be made unhealthy. And I chose something based on an unhealthy state of mind, an unhealthy want and desire. Even though a family is a beautiful thing, it's a great thing, I just wanted it for the wrong reasons because I never had it, and it became an obsession, and it blinded me. My love became my weakness, and it blinded me. Your weaknesses will blind you. A love for a thing, attachment, an unhealthy attachment, whether it's healthy or an unhealthy, it will blind you, just like lust, and it takes away your sight, and it takes away the something being clean and being something being clean and something being pure. And I got backlash from it because I tried to force something that I saw in the beginning wasn't going to work. And that's what I mean by settling. I settled because I seen the signs. I saw the character way before I just up and married. You know what I mean? But I decided, I want this family, and I did anything in the cost, and it backfired. Even when God was giving me the signs, even when I saw it, I still chose to go my way, and I paid for it. So, that's why I say it's really dangerous. When you go your way, because when I say I got a spanking, I got a spanking, and I got took down through there. Do you hear me? So you have to be careful with your wants, and you need to real deal know what place is that coming from. Is it a healthy place or whatnot? Because like I said, if it's not healthy, at some point you might not be able to see it. But I promise you, the people that you choose, the people that come in your life, they are reflections of you. And you might not be able to sense it. You might not be able to pick it up to be able to understand, why is it that I'm getting damaged people sent to me? Why is it that unhealthy people coming to me? And that's because you're unhealthy. It's something to extent somewhere that is tainted. And it had me chasing after a false life, a false this fairy tale, this illusion. And I chose an illusion. I sold out. And like I said, not to say that I didn't love him. What I'm saying is I had more of a love for that thing, for the ideal of family, than I had for him. And that's what led me. And that's what I married. That thing. I married the ideal. I fell in love with the ideal. So you have to be careful when you choosing people, or when you're trying to make life decisions, major decisions, that you real deal know that you're not choosing things, that you're not forcing something, that you're not forcing a fit, because everything that it was built off an illusion, a lie, and that's why it did not stand. Because my lie to myself, my illusion was me just wanting a family, okay? And I settled. And every time that man cheated, every time something came up, every time he didn't handle things the way he needed to handle them, I was angry and I was mad on the inside, and really more so angry with me, because I knew that I knew that I knew on the inside of me that this was not it. And that's how you can so-called get what you want. You can so-called get to that level that you want. Yeah, I got to marriage, but was I happy? And that's how you can lay next to somebody and you still feel a void. And that's because 9 out of 10, you lacking something. It's something lacking. It's something, it you lacking, and it's probably not what you thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? And mainly because you chased an illusion. So you definitely want to be, like I said, I hope this helps somebody so y'all can be proactive more than reactive. But now I know to pay attention, and I know that I have to be mindful of that. My love for family and me being family oriented, and my passion for it, that I don't allow the enemy to trick me or to blind me, to get blinded by my love for it, that I marry anybody or I put up with anything, or I fall for anything, and be bamboozled, or tricked out of something, or led into a path of destruction because of my idea of a love for something that was really a unhealthy attachment. It was a false love. Even though it was a good thing, my desires and my love for it became obsessive, and it made it unhealthy, and it made it not clean. So, like I said, it was like everything was built on a lie. Our relationship, what I wanted, what he wanted, it was two different things in reality. I was in love with the ideal of things, of having a family, and he wasn't really ready for one. To be honest, he was on some other stuff, because your actions will prove that you on some other stuff. You know what I mean? How you treat people will prove that you own something else, that you want something else. So let's pay attention to the signs when people, show us that, you want a family, but you don't, your actions and how you like to kick it and party, and, how multiple women or multiple men shows otherwise. You know what I mean? So you have to be mindful of it and don't sell yourself short, settle, and then you end up being this angry person, this angry woman, this angry man, and nothing that your partner can do will satisfy you. And every time they mess up, it reminds you that you settled, that you sold out. So I hope this helped y'all. I hope it made sense or whatnot. So y'all be great.